Hi, I'm Dr. Holly Tech, clinical psychologist, and in this video, we're going to be thinking about the link between diet and emotional well-being. So the thing is that when you are stressed and your mind is really preoccupied and focused in on that one thing or those few things that you're worried about, all of our energy goes there. So what starts to happen sometimes is we start to neglect other areas of our life that are really important too. So something like diet, looking after your diet, eating healthily, eating the foods that you need to give you energy and keep you going, that's often one of the first things that gets neglected. And this can happen in one of a few ways. So it may be that you find yourself not eating enough. So you start skipping meals possibly because you're in a rush or you're busy or you're just thinking and you kind of forget to eat. That can be one thing. The other side of it can be that we eat too much. So we find ourselves snacking constantly as a way of making ourselves feel less stressed, or just absent-mindedly because we're so busy focusing on what we're worried about, we're just kind of grabbing food all the time. The other thing that can happen is that we stop eating nutritionally complete meals and we start grabbing food that maybe we know isn't as good for us, but is quick or easy or just makes us feel a little bit better in the moment. And you could be one of those, you could be all three at different times. So the difficulty here, I mean, the odd missed meal isn't going to make too much difference. The odd kind of overeat isn't going to make too much difference. But if we do some of these things over time, what can start to happen is our bodies can start to respond negatively. So we might become more tired, have less energy, be a little bit more lethargic. We might have some physical symptoms like tummy aches or skin problems. And also we can start to even be sick and become a little bit unwell if we aren't getting all the nutrition that we need. And of course, if you're already stressed, that's not going to make you feel any better if you start to feel physically unwell as well. So because stress affects us physically and physical symptoms affect stress and make it even worse, we want to try and focus in on making sure your nutrition is as best as it can possibly be. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just as good as you can possibly make it. So if this is an area that you're struggling in, here are a few tips that may help you. You can kind of pick and choose what works for you. Okay, so number one, on the days where you do feel a little bit better or possibly have a little bit more time for yourself, you could do a batch cook. So you could make a big batch of whatever foods you like to eat and then put them into little containers, put them in the freezer, and then you've got something each day for the rest of the week possibly. If you're someone that does a regular food shop, you could get some healthy snackable items. So if the difficulty you have is that you're reaching for snacks that maybe aren't so good for you, when you do your food shop, you grab some healthy snacks that you can quickly access wherever you are on the go or at home, then that should hopefully help with that a little bit. You could also organise a regular, maybe weekly or every 2 weeks, a meal with a friend or a family member. You could go out to eat. Maybe they'll cook for you. That'd be very nice. Or if it gives you a little bit of motivation, you could be the person that cooks for them because you know they're coming over. That can often be enough motivation to kind of spur us on a little bit. Another idea is to research some really simple recipes. So me, for example, I don't really like cooking. I don't enjoy it. I wish I did, but I just don't. So the thought of preparing a massive meal with like 15 ingredients just puts me off. Whereas if I can get something that's got just a few things in it and is simple and done within, less than 20 minutes, that's perfect for me. So if you're someone that's a little bit like me, have a little research of some simple recipes. There's hundreds of thousands online and in books as well. So that might be something that could be helpful too. And just lastly, I want to say, try not to beat yourself up if you are struggling with your diet a little bit at the moment, whichever end of the spectrum you might be on. Because when we get stressed about the fact that we're not eating well, that can make us stress feel even worse, and you're kind of just punishing yourself for feeling bad essentially. So try not to beat yourself up about it. If you have a bad day, a bad couple of weeks, it doesn't matter. But when you start to feel a little bit better, when you've got a little bit more energy, try and implement some of these strategies and hopefully one or some of them will work for you. If you are finding yourself, as we always say, struggling a little bit more, not able to get a hold of your stress and feeling like things are really difficult at the moment, make sure you access some of the resources down below. There's some advice on who you can turn to for a little bit more support. Okay, take care.